So, hey guys, I am Nyamat and Samrat from Team Social Elysium, and today we have Pashmina girl or Vashi here with us, and we're going to be asking her questions. We have 12 questions in total. I'll be dealing with the odd questions, and Samrat will be dealing with the even questions. The brief introduction is already given, and we'll just get on with the questions. So the first question we have for you is, if your body could talk right now and you could have like a sort of a conversation with it, what would you say?
My body always speaks to me, and we're always in sync and in conversation with each other, and she keeps on telling me, girl, you're so beautiful. And this is a perennial conversation that goes on with each other. My soul and my body, they are in tune and in sync with each other, and they say that you are beautiful, and you make this world worth living in. So
That's
that's my
wonderful.
answer.
It's totally wonderful. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, like, how would you say that? Can you say that a person's body size or weight can decide their own health?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, look at me. I'm a plus size. I pretty much work out every single day. I eat a very balanced meal. I am able to go to treks. I have always been a sporty person. I used to dance in one day around 7 to 8 hours of riyaz, swimming, you name it. And yeah, all my tests also reveal that I'm perfectly healthy. So I do not think that a size of a body can, measure the health. It has been the norm. Even the doctors used to, earlier on, from many years, I've heard the doctors saying that your size matters, and it directly is proportional to your health. But I am a living example of that, and it has never affected my health, first of all. Secondly, uh, being body positive or a plus size person does not in any which way mean that you have a license to slag, or you can be a couch potato and eat whatever junk or stuff. You body positivity means taking care of your body. So taking care, working out, keeping it healthy, and keeping it happy, keeping it positive, it's our responsibility, because it's a home that we dwell in, and it is the only thing that is going to see us through till we breathe our very last on this earth. So no, I do not think so. But our body does give us signs, and we should be able to read those signs. Our body is the first person to tell us, don't overdo this, don't overexert, don't overeat. Watch, and probably in some bodies, waist increasing, a pot belly might be indicative. It is person to person. Each individual has their own body types. There will be people right in your groups, in your friend circle. There'll be girls, there'll be boys who would probably eat the entire buffet up and would be stick thin. So and healthy even. And then there will be, okay, somebody is smiling, I think I have that guy here somewhere. So, and then there will be somebody who would be such a frugal eater, but her body. So your weighing scale does not matter and does not measure up your health. I don't think so. I mean, in my lifetime, I think I have been a very fit person, and of course, along as you get aged, things start, your body metabolism does slow down, but then there are things you can work out with. So no, I don't think so.
I totally agree, but then there are some like even of my friends, and they're like when I was prefect last year, they were like, dude, you should take care of your health. Like, तू ऐसे बीमार हो जाएगी इतनी मोटी होके. So like, if somebody says that to you, how do you tackle that statement?
You can, first of all, we need to be very, very confident and proud of the fact that you are blessed with this body, this shape, this size. If you do not have that out inside, it will reflect outside. But if you have even an ounce, tiny ounce of doubt inside you, you would not be able to tackle. You leave tackling aside, you will start having self doubts. So first of all, you need to yourself judge and see that, are you okay with who you are as a person? Do you accept it open-endedly, or do you have the power to, if you do not accept it, do you have the power within you, or the wish or will within you, to bring it to a level where you are ready to accept it? First step would be that. And second step is, you can be very, very polite and say, thank you so much, but the days of the myths are, long gone. And today things are much clearer. And I think I know my health. I have never felt fitter than before. And if there would be an issue about with my health, I think I would be the first one to feel alarmed, because it's my responsibility. After all, it's my body. Thank you so much. You're so kind to be, taking care and being worried about me. But sorry, I don't need it. Simple as that.
Okay, yeah.
That is an
But always
amazing
remember the first
passive-aggressive
step.
response.
I'll say
Huh?
that.
You think
That's an amazing
think-
passive-aggressive.
passive aggressive, right? Because the way a person approaches you, you probably got to give them back the same way, but of course with keeping your dignity intact. And I'm telling you this from a personal experience, first of all, and secondly, because I told you there's always a first step. First step is, in your heart, do you know that person is raising a doubt inside you, or whether that person is correct or not? First step is that. First is self-acknowledgement. Once that part, you overcome that problem or that level, there's no looking back. It will come automatically to you. You wouldn't have to think twice before responding. This is probably the best time to be growing up, and growing up with dreams, aspirations, and with freedom, true found freedom. I did not grow up in that kind of a space, though I am very, very blessed. I was in a very blessed Fauji atmosphere, and we do understand, no, being Fauji kids and a life outside, people do get to be a little cagey. The life can be a little cagey, and we do have freedom, and we must be very grateful and blessed to have parents like these, and the institution of defense forces that take care so well of the family and the kids, and they raise us with such openness. We don't have that kind of atmosphere around here. People are not that judgy. And secondly, I feel that there was nobody to tell you. There was no such movement, no such icons. There was nobody growing up, I could look up to and draw my strength from. I had to draw it from my own self. I had to really, really carve my way. And growing up, I wasn't a plus size kid at all. I wasn't very chubby. But it's not about being chubby or skinny or any body type. In any which way you are, there is and bound to be, this thing is bound to happen. People are bound to come down at you, because there are people who love looking at you and feeling a sense of pride in them, which are very, very rare and very less. Very few. You must acknowledge the fact that it's only the immediate ones. And there are like tons of people who would love to see you down. So you have to, towards the end, you have to get it from inside. So growing up, I did not have such icons. This was not even a term. There was no term as body positivity, let alone not even positivity. We were not taught these things. This was something, a sort of a rebellion and a revolution that came within us. And I used to, probably growing up, I would just tell you this thing. Somebody told me you should wear more black. I love color black. I love it. But when somebody said this with an agenda that I could see it from their eyes, that they're saying that because black camouflages your body shapes and your contours and probably makes you look symmetrical or lean or whatever the term is in their eyes, and people, those who think. I mean, I used to love black, but I rebelled. It's now after almost 20 years, I started re-wearing black. It was my way of rebelling. Why? I do not need black. I am a colorful person, and I would choose to wear whatever color I fancy. So these were the small things that, used to bring a sense of achievement, a sense of rebellion, a sense of power within us. And there are many people like me who grew up like that. But you guys, you have such positivity around you that even if there is a lot of negativity, I understand competition is even more worse in your case. I do get that. It wasn't that bad in our situation, but you have a lot of people to draw your strength from. And I think you should play upon that. So what next?
Samrat, you've had.
Yes. Can you describe a time where you felt self-conscious due to the portrayals of your body image in the media?
In the media?
Like if anybody
Yeah.
said anything mean to you on Instagram or something.
Honestly speaking, this is not my first career, and I have joined the social media bandwagon pretty late. I'm an educationist actually. I'm a lecturer of English literature, and this is my third career probably. I used to be a dancer and a fashion designer, and then I hopped into a government job and I used to teach English literature, and then I wanted to take a break. I'm a very, very free-spirited person who keeps on, taking breaks and shifting gears and trying new things. So I landed up on the blogging scene pretty late. But to be very honest and very surprisingly, I've not had much criticism on Instagram, and people have actually always been supportive. मेरे case में नहीं हुआ है. I mean not felt, because yeah, it's always been like that. The more you would criticize me, the more self-confident I would become. People would keep on pointing out stuff at me, and I would say they have some problem in their eyes. I think I'm very beautiful. So that was always me. I was very, very brazen right from the childhood. So no, I've never felt intimidated. I can wear and pull off any damn cloth you give me. I will pull it off. I have no issues with that. If the person who's shooting me, or the person standing around me, or the person watching does have an issue with it, you're free to overlook my stuff. Don't look it, don't watch it. It's see, I'm not doing blogging for somebody else. It is an expression. They are my feelings, my projection of my body, my soul that I put into every post that I make. And yeah, I do make money out of it. There's no harm in that. But that's basically me. And it's okay. Not everybody's supposed to agree with me. It's okay. Not everybody's supposed to like or agree to what I do and how I look. But I have never felt any though there are people who keep on writing some crass comments, they troll you even, but mere case it has been very rare. Like, it has been there, but nothing that I couldn't tackle, or nothing that bothered me to another level. Yeah, but before blogging and during my childhood or my college days or my performance days, there have been millions of experiences.
So those experiences, like, did you feel inclined to change yourself, like completely, like go out and just, like keep running on the streets until you drop or something like that?
Actually, when I was very, very young, and I had this hormonal issue that at our times nobody knew such issues existed. Nobody would acknowledge a girl would even have such issues. So around puberty, I had some terrible issue with my hormones, and suddenly I don't have too much of hair on my body. Suddenly I started having a lot of hair, and then a lot of aches and pains and swelling and stuff. So obviously, but obvious, kids are like that. They started sort of teasing and shaming me, and I would look into the mirror, I would find myself okay. But when I would go back to school and people would, sort of shame me and stuff like that, I did not feel ashamed, but I did raise this question with my teachers and my mother. And my mother is one hell lot of a body positive woman. And though she doesn't know what this term is, during her time, nothing of this sort ever existed. But yeah, I mean, she never bothered about her looks. She's a police woman, so she's not at all into fashion or outfits or how does a person look. She's all about her duty and deliverance. And yeah, I did raise her these questions that, is there something wrong with me? And she said, think about it, sleep over it, and come back to me next day. think about it. If it is you who needs to answer this. It is you, no? So how will I answer? I'm not inside your body. It is you who is inside your body. Ask yourself this question, sit on it. Don't sleep at whole night or sleep over it. It is up to you. But come back tomorrow and let's discuss this. I kept on thinking whole night. I wasn't sleeping and nothing. And she said, okay, when I went to her next morning, she said, go and stand next to the mirror. I went and I stood there. She said, what do you see? And I started answering her questions. And all those answers just described how I found myself. I found myself beautiful. I loved how God had created me. There was nothing I ever wanted to change about myself. And she says, you have an answer, baby. You only need to tell it out to the world. So that was a changing point in my life. I mean, a little bit of doubt that whatever that crept in inside me, she told me to find it out inside me and draw the strength from. And there was no looking back. Of course, another incident also, I would say that there was a time when I was doing modeling for some few ads, and there was this recently BSNL and Airtel had launched in our city, and I was supposed to be a Kashmiri girl modeling for newly launched this mobile network. So they wanted a girl with straight hair, and during my lifetime, only recently people have warmed up to curls. Earlier, people used to say that no, curls are the bad mixture. I mean, you have all the bad mixes inside you. You're too brazen. A girl with curls is like a wildling, and she is a wild-spirited child, a woman nobody would ever take to be a wife or something like that, and stuff like that. People used to think like that about curls, and they used to call me arrogant because I was confident, so I was labeled arrogant. And I used to do what all guys would like to do. I had similar choices. I was a swimmer, I was a horse rider and stuff like that, and I was into sports, and I was into studies, and I was into whatever I wanted, and I was a very brazen child. So they said, you got all mixtures wrong. So that was another point when I had only once straightened my hair, and I felt a few days I thought, oh my god, I'm looking so polished, and people would not give work to people with curly hair. So I thought, okay, I will change my look, and I did so, and in turn ended up damaging my hair, and a piece of my heart got broken. I felt very, very broken from inside, that as if somebody has literally, painted me some other color, which I am not. And I used to be very, very sad about it. And then again, I spoke to my mother, and she said, then why are you doing it? She's got those unruly, not defined curls. She's also got kinky and heavy, rough hair, and she's never bothered about it. She says, girl, why are you doing it? If your heart is not into it, why are you doing it? So that was the last time I did it. And after that, I have embraced my curls like my body, and I'm like happy about it. And I'm glad that people have accepted me, given me work. And now it's become the rage. And now I get maximum hair endorsements, and people give me work maximum about my hair only. And see, there are a lot of curly girls out there and curly. So these things are very, very petty, and these things are only a part of your body, not even your soul, and they do not define entirely your talents and your potential and who you are. So you don't need to pay heed to people who try to put you down. You need to have an answer for them, a very stern answer for them, and again, if you choose to ignore them, nevertheless.
Totally. I just love how open you are, and like that story was like really nice. Because like one of my friends, she loves her hair, but like one of my other friends, she was like, dude, do you want my hair straightener? Like, it's not very expensive, I can give it to you and stuff. And she was being so very mean about it.
Yeah, people are jealous. People are threatened by anything which is not the mainstream. Let me tell you, unless you are like not mainstream, you are definitely any new idea. If you come up with any new scientific invention, people do not warm up to it, suddenly. You need to give them time and reasons, and you need to show them where you stand. And again, you don't need to prove yourself, but then you again need to be an example. It's a cliche thing that I'm talking, but once you become an example, then people follow you like anything. And people who have these small issues, they pick on these. It is our responsibility as a community to, right away tell them, or cut that thought down. And if you have a knowledge, just pass it on to the other person, because only then will it become a norm. I mean, seeking external validation, first of all, we should never seek external validation from, because our happiness lies inside of us. We don't need any second person to make us happy. I mean, I can be pretty much in a house. I mean, like, people have gotten bored during the lockdown and craved and done this and done that, but I've pretty much enjoyed my time. I mean, I can be very, very well and very happy within myself, doing my own stuff. I don't need any second person. Of course, I love my friends. Having said that, I love my friends, but I mean, over the years, you'll get to know that who genuinely is a friend. A good friend can only be one who's a good person, a good human being. Rest, everybody is a crowd. And I would only say that being youngsters, it's the onus of clearing the society out lies even more into you all. So even if one of you know this thing that, dude, this is shaming. I mean, dude, this is, like putting somebody down. This is judgment. Just stand up and explain in a very polite way to that person. We might help in changing her. And if we won't be able to change her, we'll at least be able to stop her there and then. So that's how we should progress.
Totally.